Hello, beloveds. Welcome. I'm Georgia Ashara, and today's video is going to be about sacred feminine magic. What is it? How to unlock it? So let's dive in. Let's get into this video. So first of all, many people are not quite aware of feminine magic, what it means. Maybe it sounds just very esoteric, and yes, there is an element to that. But this is a true thing, energy is a true thing. It creates all things. And the feminine side of magic, this feminine side of energy, should I say, has this magical quality to create things. As women, we have wombs and we can use this menstrual cycle and birthing and the womb space for creational purposes, which is an alchemical process. When you create a baby, it's a process of alchemy, going from sperm and egg to a baby. You're creating life, a human physical form. And that is energy. It takes energy to do that. So it goes beyond that, of course, as much of a miracle as that is. There's many different ways that we can work with our feminine magic. There are many ways to support the feminine anatomy specifically so that we can cultivate more feminine magic in our body. We can also look at feminine magic or energy as, this life force, Kundalini Shakti. And when we look at this from this perspective, when we look at the Tao Tantric perspective, so there is Taoist sexual alchemy and then there's Tantric sexual alchemy. We look at using this life force to nourish ourself, nourish our body, to look after our system, and to cultivate it in a way that we can use it for divine purposes, for conscious, loving purposes in our life, as opposed to being unconsciously aware of this energy and how it can leak out, how it can manifest into a toxic energy as well. It can get used and siphoned. So we want to look at how we can protect our energy. So when we do sacred feminine practices, we are indeed also cultivating such a deep awareness with our body, with our energy, all of our energy, because sometimes people think, oh yeah, my energy, and they're all up here in these top chakras, and they're not really attaining to what's going on in their womb. Women, especially, more than anyone, hold a lot of shame around their sexuality, around their sexual organs, and around their body as a whole. There's so many different perspectives on what a woman should look like and what is, sexy, what is sensual. So it creates all this distortion. And taking on these practices, actually having a sacred feminine arts practice in your life, allows you to get rid of all the noise from outside of you, to feel content in who you are, to know who you are on such a deep, profound level that you are not listening to all the noise outside and then getting distracted and feeling unperfect and feeling shame around yourself because you feel so confident in who you are. And not only do you feel confident, but then you invite that kind of energy outside for yourself as well to come in. When you invite a new partner into your life, you're usually able to decipher if their energy is clean enough to actually connect with you on a deeper, intimate level. Whereas maybe before you could get led into what their wants and needs are and start providing your energy out towards this partner as opposed to giving and making sure that you are well sourced. So it's all these different things that when we start to work with the sacred feminine arts practices, that we actually start to become more, and we use this word as, sovereign, because we become so connected, so in charge, so understanding of our life force and energy that it cannot be tampered with on the outside. We're the ones who get to say what we do with it and how it is used in this world. And this is what we want to create, especially for women who have had that taken away from them. For eons and eons, women have even been killed, manipulated for their sacred feminine power, magic, energy. I, for one, have spoke about this in other videos about my time as a priestess and having my womb taken. And I'm just going to mention this because I just had a whole thing. I watched The Witcher. I might be saying it wrong, but I think it's like The Witcher or Witcher. Anyway, it's a Netflix thing, and I just started watching that with my mum because we wanted to like do something together. And this kind of thing happened with her. I mean, it was a bit different storyline. It was more that she was doing some magic to change her form, this sorceress. But I was like crying because I was like, oh my gosh, like, and I've just been sharing a lot about this recently, which is again a very intimate thing for me to talk about some of these past life things because maybe some people wouldn't fully get that, how we can have such tangible memories and feel the trauma still in our field from these lifetimes. But when you start to become, again, really aware, when you start doing the sacred feminine practices as well, spiritual practices, meditation, these things can come online, these abilities to tune into the field of the Akash, halls of Amente. You can start to really recall and recollect that. You can start to then see the threads of these lifetimes that are playing a role in what you are learning, your lessons in this lifetime and so forth. So that's again another element and a layer to doing this work. As a woman, I feel that we owe it to all women and humanity, if we have access to this, to begin to awaken this energy so that more people can have access to this and we can start to remember and reclaim it and start to bring this back into society where women are working together. They feel like there's a sisterhood and look after one another because again, that was a table that turned, in the dark ages where, women did start turning on each other because it became so scary that they needed to protect themselves from being hunted that they would even turn in on their sisters. Not necessarily sister like blood sister, but family and friends and other women within their community. So we want to rectify that as well. Doing sacred feminine arts practices is going to heal the sisterhood wound because you're going to be sitting with your sisters, connecting more with them. You're going to be clearing out those woundings and projections of needing to, fight for being seen as the more dominant woman or maybe the prettier woman. They do it happens even in class. I even remember in primary school, as young as primary school, the girls used to be like that, especially because we had girls that were getting married and stuff, not really, but play marriage with boys. And so it was kind of like, who's the prettiest? Because the guys are picking the prettiest ones to get married and all these different things. And even being the bridesmaid, if you wasn't pretty enough, you wasn't even going to get to be a bridesmaid. This was already stirring in to our consciousness, even at, I mean, what, 8, 9, 10 years old? It's really crazy, So we have to release that and realize that everyone has their own unique beauty in a different way. There are aesthetic beauty standards out there, but this doesn't have to be what creates your reality. It doesn't mean that then you can't do certain things, you can't live a certain way. So sacred feminine arts practices really brings us back to our wholeness, connects us to divinity. When we are connected to divinity, when we're connected to creation, the God, the goddess energy pours down into us and reminds us that we are so loved. We are just pure creation. We remember how absolutely incredible it is to be in this form, to be a part of life, to be in this world, and how we get to create this life for ourselves. From that point on, we can make a choice how we see ourselves, how we feel about being in a body, how we feel about yeah, living life when we see it through the lens of the divine. And this is what some of these practices teach us, especially within Tantra. We do a lot of awareness practices. A lot of the time, Tantra gets painted this picture of being the one that is all about having sex and these Kama Sutra positions and things like this. But truly, we have to come from the foundations of tuning into ourselves and becoming the inner union. There's a lot of talk in the spiritual community about higher gamas, and this happens. These teachings are within Taoist sexual alchemy practices and Tantra, because Tantra is that it is here to bring us into that awareness of the divine. So when we do mirror work, staring and meditating whilst looking at ourselves, to really look into the souls of our eyes, or our eyes within the soul within our eyes, yeah. And we do this, and it starts to again awaken that energy and that life force, doing it into another's eyes and looking at them and just turning in to them as if you were looking within the eyes of the divine, and the divine's looking back at you, and you're looking back through that as the divine as well. And that is pouring out just infinite love, connection, and oneness. We're really coming back into that. But then we're bringing that back into the now, into this present moment, into the body. We feel it, we sense it. We can do things like Shakti meditation, where we just observe the sensations in the body. This is just watching, observing Shakti moving within us, pulsing, alive. And we remember how alive we are in our body. Now, Taoist sexual alchemy is very refined, and we look at how we can breathe our channel, opening up our channel and our three dantians and connecting them all together, cultivating this life force so that we can move it around our organs, and we use our sexual energy to cleanse and heal our organs and to bring a lot of life force energy into the organs. So it's said that the sexual alchemy is such a powerful life force that it can heal parts of our body. This is very, very powerful stuff. It's been here for ancient eons and eons and eons. And what they like to do as well is that we don't just raise it up. Like we see a lot in sometimes these Kundalini practices, with people having these spontaneous Kundalini awakenings and so forth. It gets all up and out and out and out and out the body, and we start to lose it. And this is again the Tao, talk about cultivating it so we can bring it up and we bring it down. That's where we work with something called the microcosmic orbit, which is something that I teach my students and my clients. So we bring it up and around so that we have that flow of life force energy. We're also bringing it down. We're actually then raising up life force energy up all the way up into the stars, into back to source. We're collecting that beautiful cosmic life force energy, and we're also then pouring that back down. So it becomes even more potent, even more refined. We can even use it to work with our sexual organs. So for women, this is so important. If something that I'm seeing actually is women at a very young age having thyroid issues, having fibromyalgia, severe period pains, PMS. There's another word for it now, where it's basically women get into bigger states of emotional turmoil and rage leading up to their periods, and it's destabilizing, and it prevents them from socializing. It's really debilitating of their lives. And we don't need to go through this. We don't need to have these things. We don't need to go through lots of harsh medications that can also be harsh on the body to do so. Maybe you might need something like that. That's where you need to go and seek someone else out for that side of things. But on the energetic side, what you can bring into your daily life is these alchemy practices, is these energy cultivating practices, so that when you learn and know how to work with your womb energy, your life force energy, your sexual energy to support your womb space, to sync in with the cycles, to also work with the meridians that all run along the front of the body, over the breast, over through the ovaries. We also have reflexology points within our vaginal canal. So when you learn how to use all of these, you become, again, very sovereign, very in control, very aware, very conscious of how you can nurture your body. You start to become very fine-tuned as well, and aware of your body and what she needs, what she wants. And your lifestyle might start to change a lot because you start listening to yourself rather than going, okay, this is the trend. This is the superfoods I need to eat because this is what so-and-so said on TikTok. This is what I need to go and do because so-and-so at the gym said this is how I need to work out. Now you listen to your body goes, that might be a superfood, but that's not what I need right now. I need this. I need to just take that down a little bit. This is what I'm requiring. And I'm requiring a little bit of a different exercise routine today. Is that okay? And you start to listen to that and start to move and flow with those different intuition, that hit that the body's asking for. And that is when you realize that, yeah, these sacred feminine practices, they're bringing in that magic, that aliveness of intuition, of connectivity. And then you feel the power of your life is given back to you. You're not putting the power out into others and out into, society who will tell you how to do things and how to live, which won't necessarily be right for your body. We live in a very male dominant world. It's run for the male anatomy and gender that doesn't have the same cycle. We don't go through those cycles where they need to have maybe more rest, where they're actually physically detoxing blood. Even when women go through menopause, that's such a big transition. Men don't go through that. They don't know what it's like to go through that menopausal process, and the body's changing so rapidly, the hormones. We need to adjust our lives to that. And that doesn't mean that it hinders and it stops us from living a good life, but it just means that we have to choose different things to support that and make it more easy to do the things that we do love. When we're still trying to plow through and do things like working 9 to 5, 9 to 5, 9 to 5 into our late 60s and 70s, I mean, this is just not okay that the society, at least here in the UK, this is what they deem as acceptable. They're just putting the age bracket further and further back for people to be working into their late old age, and it's just not okay. There's transition there. And there is even transition for men when they're getting older. Like, everybody needs to have their space. I mean, I can dive into that. That's kind of like a whole other story, really, isn't it? But you see, in terms of the cycle, in terms of the hormones, we need to look at how we can adjust. And if we can start doing this now, earlier on, you can also then pave the way for then yourself in the future. So for those who, are way, way, way before, getting into their menopause, you have time now to maybe do some certain implementations that could make space for then when you come into your menopause, you'll know how to navigate that and start adjusting your life accordingly because you would have had the preparation. And I'm sure there's still ways to do it now for those who are going through menopause. So I just wanted to touch over some of those things and really bring you into a state of awareness of what Sacred Feminine Magic is all about. But I am going to be actually launching on Sunday the 17th of November 2024, depending when you're watching this. You can either watch it live or on the replay, but I'm going to be offering a Sacred Feminine Magic initiation so that for those who want to learn deeply this practice and actually explore it and experience it for yourself, this is the space for you, because there is no other way than us actually going into this ourselves. When we actually experience it, when we practice these things, that's when we start to realize the benefits. That's when we start to see what works for us, because it's an intuitive process as well. And not only is it an intuitive process, but it's a process that it can take you in all different directions. It's not going to be something where you suddenly go, okay, this person, they started doing these sacred feminine practices and now suddenly they've manifested some like new soul partner or something. Maybe something else that you need. Maybe you just need to learn how to manage your emotions, and so that you can start to have more flow in your menstruation. So that will be your benefit that will start to come through. Someone else might start to feel more comfortable in their body, that they can attract then a relationship. So there's different ways that it can help, but it's all creating more harmony in our life. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please give us a thumbs up and a like and a follow and a share for anyone else that you feel could benefit from this video. Much love.